Good news, everyone. It is a very belated podcast day. I wanted to wait until I had the time to film this episode with video. Yes, you heard that right. This podcast episode is going to have a video version. It's just over 20 minutes long, and the video is available on both Spotify and YouTube. The podcast topic today is the history of tiaras, something I realized I never actually explained despite doing Tiara Tuesday videos every week. Here is a snippet from the video podcast where I explain the different tiara styles. If you want to know more about the history, when they became popular, and the etiquette of wearing a tiara, you can go to Spotify or YouTube and look for ancient history jewelry stories. If you would prefer to just listen, you can do that too. You can find it on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. So what about the different tiara shapes? Sometimes when I make my Tiara Tuesday videos, I talk about the specific tiara shapes and it gets a little bit confusing. Many of these terms are interchangeable nowadays. For instance, circlet and diadem are used pretty much interchangeably, but there are some differences. We have the bandeau tiara, which is shaped like a ribbon or band. This can be worn across the forehead or on the top of the head. These were most popular during the 1920s and 1930s. We have the kokoshnik. Those of you who have seen the animated film Anastasia are very familiar with this style of tiara. This is based on traditional Russian kokoshnik headdresses, which I mentioned earlier in the episode are based on ancient Scythian diadems. These are flat and broad and often peaked at the top. These offer a fantastic opportunity to put a wealth of gemstones on one tiara. These became very fashionable during the late 1800s, and they were not only worn by Russian royals. There was a huge vogue for all things Russian at the end of the 19th century. Then we have the circlet, which goes around the circumference of the head. As I mentioned, interchangeable with diadem. You will see these two words used for the same pieces very often. Then we have the fringe tiara. This is one that you see in a lot of royal tiara collections. The easiest way to describe a fringe tiara is a bunch of spikes, with the tallest spike in the center. Most often, these are made out of diamonds, sometimes with additional colored gems. Sometimes, a fringe tiara can be converted into a necklace. Then we have one of my personal favorites, the aigrette tiara, also sometimes pronounced egret. These focus on a central motif, which is worn above the forehead, sometimes on the forehead, and they either hold a feather or plume or are made to look like one. Then we have the halo tiara. This one's kind of self-explanatory. It looks like a halo. It's a little less common